Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me have some more RPG horror stories. I probably should mention every once in a while on occasion, but if you have your own RPG horror story, you could submit it for me to read, hopefully in one of these videos. Link for the email is down in the description below. I can't guarantee that I'm going to read every single submission, but as many submissions as I can, I'll try to read whenever possible. Nevertheless, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. Player accidentally ruined the final BBG encounter and extended the campaign to drag on for several more sessions. So this happened in our table's Descent into Avernus campaign a few days ago, which is basically our main campaign for our table's canon, and has been going on for 3-ish years. Descent is pretty popular, so I'm sure most people know the premise, but I'll explain all the relevant details. This session, somewhere around the 82nd, we've had a lot of expansion modules and stuff, was the one where we confront the literal big bad of the campaign, the BBG, Zariel, the Archduchess of the first layer of hell, Avernus, who is holding a city of innocent people hostage to convert into an army of devils for the ongoing perpetual never-ending war against the demons. We'll call the individuals as such: Barbarian, the player in question, Bloodhunter, the other player, and DM. Barbarian has historically been kind of an instigator. Fights that the party wasn't ready to engage in were started because his character got bored of preparation or indecision. This is partially a boon, as it keeps the story going in the past, and led to interesting scenarios, but more than occasional decisions of his have often led to significant frustration in sessions past, especially when those decisions are extremely against group rule. In particular, he has a very difficult time letting any scene just sit. He has to be in the center of the camera at all times, and if he's not, you will hear his quippy little comments while literally anyone else is having a moment. On top of blatant main character syndrome, to the point where he often makes jokes about how his character is obviously the main character, that he will surely deny hold any real sentiment if pressed, he seems to suffer from some kind of irony poisoning. Very rarely allow himself to be fully invested in a game, like a cringe phobia. An every dramatic moment would happen with him shouting some degradement of it from the background, sometimes quite literally. At times his behavior can be endearing and funny, and other times it's utterly incessant and infuriating. But for the most part, I've lived with it. It's not a campaign ruiner, just an extreme pet peeve. There have been moments where he does allow himself to take it a little bit more seriously, so as long as he's having fun, whatever. I could deal with some undercut tension here and there. Undercut tension is one thing, but if it's happening the whole time, a pet peeve can become an actual festering wound. And the last thing you want to do is to have a pet peeve become a festering wound, because I feel like with this kind of player, they genuinely, unironically has no self-awareness about the fact that they're trying to pretend like they're main character, but also joking haha about it, but also being kind of unironic about it. I feel like it's just gotta basically become, like I said, like a festering wound. A pet peeve can eventually become worse, infected, festered, and just worse in general, becoming an actual malignant plague on the campaign, especially if it's happening for long periods of time. Maybe one thing if it was like an occasional comical relief thing that the character and the player character is clearly aware of. If the player is aware of them doing this bit, right? If it was a bit, but I don't think it's a bit from the way you describe it. I think they generally see themselves as the person that kind of keeps the story moving, and they think of themselves like, oh, I am the main character and stuff. Truly, in the back of the mind, they do think of themselves as the most important person at the table, which is not fair to the rest of the table whatsoever. Between sessions prior to this one, we the party had agreed that we would try to talk her down, because her circumstances that led her here were tragic, and she was very clearly set up to be redeemable. But while I and the rest of the party did want to go down the route, and even fit for my character, who themselves is all about claiming agency when it feels like you're being shackled, and self-redemption, I was really under any delusion that it would work without any battle, as I really shouldn't have. That would be anticlimactic as heck. And if I was the DM, I'd force some kind of a battle before she could be reasoned with, because that's literally why we're all here, to fight the BBG. So fast forward to this session, and we'll walk up the stairs to confront her. Barbarian had created a whole speech to attempt to convert Zariel. It was impressively written. There was clearly a lot of care put into it. It was honestly kind of nice to see him take something about the game so seriously, which is a very rare occurrence. And it did phase Zariel, but it didn't sway her. We'll give our respective pledges, but as expected, she doesn't budge easily. She offers a compromise to free the people, if in her place we pledge to serve her instead of via a binding devil contract. Words cannot express enough that this is the incorrect decision. Literal bad ending tier crap. The obvious outcome is that she'll be satisfied for now, but will inevitably attempt a similar plan again later when troops are low, with us unable to stand against her because we're literally owned by her. So me and Bloodhunter decline. It was our character to do it anyway, but Barbarian continues to try to resolve things peacefully, regardless, and offers his side the contract. I'm hoping you guys are able to talk out of character and stuff. Be like, yo, Barbarian, no, this is the incorrect way to do it. We're literally here to end the campaign. This is the final end. Kill the BBG, that whole thing. It's gonna be pointless. Like, what's the point of continuing dragging something out? I mean, unless there's a way for the DM to try to save this, I kind of feel like the climax, though, the whole point is to eventually defeat Zariel or get her to stand down completely or trick her in some way. Maybe it's a whole thing. Maybe he's trying to trick her. I don't know what Barbarian is doing. I guess let's keep on reading to see what's going on. Bloodhunter and I tried repeatedly to explain how this can only go wrong, how it's a short-sighted, impermanent solution that will do more harm than good in the long run. I believe we pushed the issue just as far as we reasonably could have without actively intruding on Barbarian's agency out of game, but they still refused to listen and went to sign it anyway. At that point, our NPC companion, Rhea, who has been with us since the literal beginning, jumps in to slice the contract before he can sign. This is literally primo DM speak for, what the hell are you doing? Stop, it's fight time. Rhea basically all but directly states that this contract was signed, Zariel's first order would be for him to attack us. At this point, there's literally no turning back. It's fight time, period. The party has explicitly not shown interest in taking her deal, so she initiates combat and will literally roll initiative. This of all things should be the cue that talk time is over now. The Bloodhunter and I declared non-lethal damage for all of our hits this fight because we need her alive anyway, and we made it very clear that we can try again once she was defeated. And yet, Barbarian still refuses to engage, insisting the situation is still somehow salvageable, intending to do literally nothing on his turn but kneel, plead, and ask forgiveness for our actions. Round 1, Rhea goes down in a single flurry of attacks from Zariel, and it's at this point he finally decides to do something. Like, the worst thing he possibly could have, though. I don't understand this. I don't understand why the player is doing this. I mean, at the end of the day, this is literally just, even the DM is coming in and saying, guys, what are you doing? There's not a point to try to talk it out. There's a point to fight it out and then try to resolve it afterwards, maybe, or something. I don't know. For the Barbarian to be so abrasive and quick to jump to action, maybe, do you think they fell in love with Zariel? Do you think they got attached to the Zariel waifu out of nowhere and this is like the time to be like, I can waifu my waifu now. This is the time to claim my waifu. Is this their moment where they're trying to waifu the waifu? Is that what they're trying to do? I hope not, because that'd be really dumb. But maybe, like, that's the only explanation that I have. The only explanation that sort of makes sense to me. On his turn, he runs up to her and sticks a bag of holding in another bag of holding to zap them both into the astral plane, of which there's obviously no easy way back, and the rules are a cluster frick to look up on the fly. His logic was that he could isolate her and him so they could talk and come to an agreement. Again, not the time. I wanted to fight. Bloodhunter wanted to fight. Rhea wanted to fight. Zariel wanted to fight. The DM wanted us to fight. So it's at this point that you really just need to give in and concede with the rest of the group. But he didn't read the description right because it actually scatters everything and transports randomly. So they're just out there. Somewhere. We sat there for like an hour as the DM tried frantically to figure out what to do from here on, because the final boss we're just about to fight and one of our party members were just blipped out of the game. Eventually he scrambled something together and we had to call the session early. Well, simple as that. Zariel casts banishment on itself, appears back where they're supposed to, holds concentration for a minute, and then bam. I don't know. There's no way to continue it. The Barbarian just doing something stupid for the sake of doing stupid. And they probably think they're doing like the most gigabrain thing ever, but they don't stop to communicate or confer this with the rest of the party. They're just going out doing whatever they want, i.e. being the main character, i.e. that pet peeve is becoming a festering thorn in this campaign. It become a festering wound instead of a pet peeve. They think of themselves as the most important character in the party, so therefore they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. This is one of those things that I feel like the pet peeve lasted for way too long and everybody tolerated for way too long, and it's only festered to the point where the main character, the main important character of Barbarian, basically was never questioned and was just given ability to do everything unabated without question or anything, and they just chose, I'm going to continue doing my own thing and choose whatever the hell I want to do, and everybody just had to roll with my antics no matter what. You enabled a main character to do whatever the hell they want to do and to basically play selfishly. That's what you've done without trying to nib this pet peeve in the butt. This pet peeve became a festering wound, and now it's just the outcome of it all, I guess. I admire his willingness to bend to the story and adherence to Barbarian's decision, and to make something interesting out of a bad situation. But every fiber of my being would have rather we just been railroaded back on course in that moment. What should have been the final cinematic battle is now a random, arbitrary, awkward stopgap. And the campaign had been extended by likely several sessions, and as much as I've been absolutely adoring this campaign, I would also like it to end. I was ready for the final battle of the session, and instead we're just being set back literal weeks of play. I can't look forward to the next few sessions wrapping up the campaign because it's just going to be more busy work to correct the mistake. He clearly felt a little bad for it because he was like, did I screw it up? During the hour where we were twiddling our thumbs and we were all laughing it off because like, yes, he did, brutally. It's entirely 100% your fault. But I can't just say that, like, what the hell are you supposed to say to that? But I can't feel as sympathetic as I like to because did I screw it up was paired alongside other snide sarcastic comments like, ask me if I regret it, and boasting about how he saved the rest of the party. I didn't ask to be saved, I wanted to fight. When I half confronted him about it at the table during the hour, really just an explanation of why I think it was a mistake, he got defensive and sarcastically apologized for not wanting to murder hobo everything. Particularly infuriating considering his character is a consistent murder hobo, an instigator. We had literally already stated we haven't intended to kill Zariel. Generally the most deflating session I've ever experienced, not the most frustrating. Some have been far more tense, but I packed up my dice solemnly disappointed. I'm gonna say something here in this situation that I feel like would have been the correct thing to do, and this is just me. I wanna just ask you guys watching the video, what do you think would have been the right thing to do? Here's my proposal. The DM should have said, no barbarian, you're not doing that. We're having a fight with Zariel because that's what everything been leading up to. Everybody been prepared for it. Either you fight Zariel or you don't fight at all. No bag of holding stuff, no nothing. This is just either fight or you don't fight. If you don't fight, replace it with a DMPC or something. I don't know. Everybody would gear up for a fight. And for whatever reason, the main character that was never abated, that pet peeve of his, turned into a festering wound. He decided, I would just do whatever he wants to do. And then when he does say like, did I mess up? Sarcastic goes, ask me if I regret it. I don't regret it one bit. I bet he doesn't regret it. I bet he doesn't regret it at all. Because when he finally does question it, if he messed up, you guys should have said, yes, you messed up. You ruined all our fun. I feel like this is a problem here right now, is that the player was never told you're going out of your way to ruin other people's fun in the situation. Yes, it would have been a harsh thing to say in this situation, but also probably would have been the most honest thing to say. And then the group should have just came together and say, DM, can we just unroll what just happened and just do the fight anyway? We're here to fight and to end the session and to finally be able to move on to something else other than the Avernus for the 83rd session and so forth and stuff. Because honestly, this felt like a blue ball. You guys got blue ball because a player decided to be selfish about it. Instead of just rolling with whatever they were rolling with, they decided, I'm gonna just flip the script and do what I want to do, regardless of what other players want to do. The barbarian doesn't consider anybody else's desire or wants, just cares about their own wants and whatever the hell they want to do in the current moment, as impulsive as it is. And it's obnoxious. It is obnoxious because it's ruined the fun for you guys. Now, none of you can enjoy the proper finale of the fight because the barbarian decided, oh, the most important person here is me, so I'm gonna do things selfishly for me, regardless if it ruins anybody else's fun. Maybe I'm being too harsh about it, but I feel like the honest thing would just be honest and say, yes, you screwed up. You're focusing too much on your own fun. You forgot that everybody else at the table also there to have fun. You specifically screwed everybody else's fun out just so you can get your own way, just so you can get your own wish. DM, roll it back. Let's do the fight anyway. I'm ready for a fight. I hope the DM does it right by you guys and tries to course correct, or maybe just lets you do a redo of the session. But also, I understand if maybe none of y'all are interested in playing anymore because the mood kind of been sour by the barbarian. Maybe just best just to say, screw it, let's just move on to a different campaign, and then just don't let barbarian do those selfish things like that in the future. I feel like their selfishness and the lack of considering other players' fun or doing things regardless if it ruins other players' fun, I feel like needs to be addressed. Obviously, agency is important and all, but not at the expense of other players' fun. In this situation, genuinely barbarian just ruined the finale for you guys. Genuinely did. And this needs to be addressed, hopefully sooner than later. My husband blew up everything. This was years ago, so forgive me if I forget any details, and I might be the villain in the story, I don't know. But it's certainly a thing that happened. I played a few different TTRPGs and similar systems, but had barely any experience GMing, so I proposed to my husband and a few friends a wild idea. A campaign that would switch systems periodically, with characters and storylines being translated into the new settings as if they were becoming alternate universe versions of themselves. They agreed to the madness and we decided to start with Warhammer 40k. Promised to go easy on everyone since 40k can be a brutal system, no worried about any of the PCs surviving to reach the next setting. Though I told him I would be fine if they did, since the other universe analogs could pick up where they left off. My husband got excited over the 40k loot tables and started asking for advanced items. Being a new GM, I was easily swayed by arguments that they were all new players and needed a little more help, so I gave everyone a couple of extra things. I negotiated husband down to 2 grenades. He picked up 1 explosive, one nasty little thing that was basically full of razor wire. I was concerned about this, but he only got 2, so limited damage they can do over a whole campaign. There's nowhere he can get more. I feel like this is a famous last word. Totally the husband is not going to be able to get more. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I don't know. I feel like it's DM speak for foreshadowing. Rather than throw them directly into combat, I sent a party of 4 to a lovely garden planet, Reth. They're a team of Inquisitor investigating what suspicious nonsense is happening at a physical rehab facility run by Hospitaliers, 40k's battle nuns, because 40k has battle everything. Battle nuns? There's battle nuns? Our other friends seem to be pretty into this, trying to get someone sent in as a patient. They're treating it like a heist. I'm delighted how interested they are in unraveling the backstories of these devious characters I've been working on for weeks. Not so husband. He's baffled that there's nothing obvious to fight. He tries to interrogate the front desk clerk and is irritated when she doesn't tell him anything. When I ask him why he isn't helping the others since the strategists obviously aren't working, he tells me his character is uncooperative and not smart, so he's just doing what this guy would do. Fair enough, on me for not catching on that guy was that badly off when he was describing the concept. So play it straight with what happens when the heist team had one impatient murder hobo stomping around slapping people. They try to use him as a distraction for the more clandestine activities, which actually works out pretty well, until the chapel. Players have figured out, 3 of them through info gathering and a husband through barging into it, that almost everyone is gathered in the chapel for some mysterious ritual at this time of day. Husband demands explanations of the bad guys, which of course instead begins to advance to attack him. Fine, you got your combat. He pulls out the grenades and prepares to pull a pin. I remind him that 1, he is in a room with only 1 exit, and 2, if he sets off a grenade in there, he might kill the people he's trying to, but will definitely kill every patient in this enclosed room, as well as himself if he is in it. So he uses his exploding grenade to blow a hole in the wall so there's a second exit, then detonates the other one behind him, killing everyone in the room that could have told him anything. We rolled for it, and yes, all the bad guys died. That grenade was insane, as well as every patient in the room. He took out 95% of the NPCs in about 3 seconds. I'd look at him stunned. He gently reminds me, "You let me have the grenades." I never let him have grenades again. Well, lesson learned. When a player asks for grenades, make sure you bounce out the grenades and make sure that what the grenades are gonna be instead of giving some sort of overpowered item. Or hey, maybe nerf it. I don't know. Like, I mean, the concept is there, but I feel like the husband, instead of interacting with everything else like the other players are doing, just wants to just go gung-ho explosion and stuff. Maybe they should probably build a character next time. We should probably talk to them. Hey, maybe you should build a character that isn't just gonna be like a big dumb idiot with grenades and stuff. Maybe that might be good. Just to keep the story going along, because if you kill all the NPCs that's supposed to tell you all the important stuff, you kind of remove the whole point of telling the important stuff. Light-hearted and everything, but I feel like it's a lesson to learn, definitely. And hopefully your husband can not just make a grenade-happy murder hobo in the future. Anyway, a nice way to end the story after the kerfuffle that was the last one, to be honest. I don't mind it one bit. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.